So you probably thought this video here was about fractions, but the first thing we're going to talk about before we talk about fractions themselves as numbers, we're going to talk about sharing, which is really the key to understanding fractions at the very, very beginning. So you've probably shared something with your brother or sister or your friends. So everyone's got a pretty good idea about sharing. So that's how we're going to start our investigation of fractions first. So let's take a look here. We've got a story about these 4 friends. 1, she puts on some lipstick, she likes her makeup. 2, he's got a really cool cat. 3, she's running, and she's running a race. And the last friend there, she's trying to ice skate, maybe not having the best time. But we've got these 4 friends together. And you've probably heard in class talking about sharing brownies or maybe a pizza. We're going to share these square raspberry chocolate candies. You know, the ones with the raspberry jelly in the middle? Yum. So here we've got these 10 raspberry candies, but we've got 4 friends. And the key to fractions here is we have to figure out how we're going to share evenly or share fairly these 10 pieces of candy amongst these 4 friends. We want every one of these friends to have the same amount of candy, the same amount of stuff. So let's take a look at how it's possible to do that. So we've still got the 10 candies on the screen. And the friend with the lipstick's got 2 whole pieces, and the friend with the cat has 2 whole pieces, the one running the race has 2 whole pieces, and the one trying to ice skate has 2 pieces, 2 whole pieces, each one. But that's 8 candies, but we have 10 in the beginning, right? So what are we going to do with those 2 left over? We could give 2 of them to the girl with the lipstick, but then that's not sharing fairly, is it? Or distributing evenly with the 4 friends. She's got more than everyone else. So we've got to find a way to have each of the friends have the same amount of candy, the same amount of stuff. What if we took those 2 whole candies that are left over and cut them right down the middle? We break them into pieces so that each of the 4 friends gets the same break or the same amount of that piece. And we're going to call, here we go, we're giving one of the cut pieces to the lipstick, and one to the cat guy, and the one to the race runner, and the one to the ice skater. What do we call each piece? We're going to call them 1/2. Why are we calling them 1/2? Where does the 1 come from? Where does the 2 come from? So let's take a look here. You've got a whole candy, and we're cutting it down the middle. We're making 2 pieces out of 1 whole candy. And how many of those 2 pieces are we going to give to our lipstick friend? We're going to give her 1 out of the 2 pieces from the whole candy. And then our friend with the cat is going to get 1 of 2 pieces of the candy. Now, take a look here. We've got the second whole. Each one is called 1/2, or 1 out of the 2 pieces of the whole thing. So 1/2 is going to go to the girl running the race, and then the other half is going to go to the girl ice skating. Let's see what happens. So we've broken the 2 whole pieces, the 2 extra pieces we had in the beginning. Remember, we had 10 whole candies. So each friend, each one of the 4 friends, is going to get 2 whole pieces of the candy and 1/2. So how do we show that in numbers? We have 2 whole pieces. Each friend has 2 whole pieces and 1/2 of a piece. Those are called mixed numbers or mixed fractions, because we have a whole number and then they have a partial number, 1 out of the 2 pieces that made the whole. So 2 and 1/2. That's how you would say those numbers. Let's break it down to 2 friends instead. You've got the lipstick girl, and then you've got the guy with the cat. And instead of 10 pieces of candy, 10 of these raspberry squares, we're gonna only use 5 squares that we can split them up evenly and split them fairly, share them fairly. So take a minute, see how you would group them. Would each friend get a whole piece? Would each friend get more than a whole piece? Would each friend get part of a piece? Let's take a look. Okay, so each friend, the girl and the boy, each friend gets 2 whole pieces, and there's the 4 raspberry squares, but we've got that 5th raspberry square. So again, what we can do is cut that right down the middle and get half the piece. And here we go. Our 2 friends, each one, gets 2 whole pieces and the half of the piece. So again, each friend gets 2.5, the mixed number or the mixed fraction, because we're sharing the 5 pieces of candy evenly. Doesn't always come out to 2.5, it just so happens our 2 problems look like that. Let's look at another one. 4 friends, the same 4 friends back together again, but we've only got 2 pieces of raspberry candy to give to our friends. Can we give a whole piece to each of the friends? We don't have enough. Do we have enough to share evenly if we give 1 piece to each of the friends? No, because then only 2 friends get a whole piece and then the other 2 friends have nothing. And these are really good raspberry candies. So we want to be very fair. We want to share fairly and share evenly. Let's take a look. What if we took those 2 whole pieces of raspberry candy and cut them in half, each of them? And then the half goes to the girl with the lipstick, and then the half goes to the guy with the cat, the half goes to the runner, and the half goes to the girl on ice skates. So each one is going to get a half of piece. No one's going to get a whole piece of candy, but at least everyone gets the same amount of stuff. And we've shared evenly and we've shared fairly. Okay, after that, we've got the 4 friends again, and we've got 5 pieces of raspberry candy. Take a minute, think about, will each friend get a whole piece? Will each friend have to get only part of a piece? Do we have enough to give evenly? Are we going to have to make some cuts, break the piece into pieces, break a whole candy into pieces? Let's take a look. So with the arrows shown, you can see that each one of the 4 friends is going to get a whole. But we've got 1 piece of candy left over. Now again, we can't give that whole piece to any one of the 4 friends because then somebody has more than another. And we want to share fairly and evenly. Otherwise, it's just not fair. Somebody's got more than another. And if you were sharing, you would want to give your friend the same amount of stuff as you have. And you wouldn't want to be the one who has less than anyone else. So let's take a look at how we can work with this 5th piece here. So we've got 1/4. We can cut them into 4 pieces. So we've got 1 out of 4 cuts. We've got 1 out of 4 cuts here. We've got 1 here and 1 here. And we've got 4 friends. Is this going to work? Let's take a look. It's going to work perfectly. Each friend has 1 whole candy and 1/4 of a candy. And everyone gets to enjoy the same amount of stuff. Everyone gets a fair share. Okay, let's think about this one. Got the same 4 friends, 3 pieces of raspberry candy. Take a minute, think about, is each of the friends going to get a whole candy? Well, we can't do that. It's 3 pieces of candy and 4 friends. If we gave out the whole pieces, somebody's left out, and that's not fair. That person would be really bummed. So maybe we can cut these pieces up. Think about if you cut them all in half, would everybody get the same amount of candy? Let's think about that for a minute. Well, we can cut 2 of the candies in half. So the one with the lipstick gets a half, the one with the cat gets a half, the one who's running gets a half, and the girl on ice skates gets a half. But what about cutting that 3rd piece in half? Well, you've only got 2 more pieces to give out and 4 friends. That's not going to work because, again, we always want to share fairly. We always want to give evenly. What if we cut them into fourths? 1/4 here, 1/4 here, 1/4 here, 1/4 here. Why are we cutting them into fourths? How many friends do we have that we have to share with? 4 of them. So here we go. Each friend gets to keep that half plus that 4th that we cut that 3rd piece into. So each friend gets that half and a 4th. Later on, you'll learn how to say this amount of stuff using one number instead of saying 1/2 and 1/4. If you've already got some ideas about it, that's great. Start that thinking. But right now, just think about each friend has the same amount of candy. And that's really good for sharing.